And of course, whenever it happens, or wherever it happens, or whenever it happens, we are here to bring you those updates on this very program, Polity, on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We are saying welcome to today's program, today being the 10th of July 2025. Don't forget that the essence of this very program is to keep you abreast with development in the polity, whether they happen here in the southeast or beyond. We are always geared up to bring all these updates to your doorstep. And if you're ready for this conversation, let's get it started. All right, my name is Franklin Ebuka. Chisom Chinedu is here today. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin. It's especially a very exciting day for me because my sister is being called to bar today. Yes.
See, this my laughter just show that you can even engage me as a Father Christmas. So I'm just booking myself ahead of time.
I'm just saying right now, I am going to go ahead and make as much trouble as I want. I can trouble Tony and sue him. No, my sister, it's a lawyer. You know what a lawyer said to me one day when I made this joke? He said, you know what, when we go outside, we will still meet where we meet as lawyers, and you people will be spending your money on trouble.
So deep. And,
really.
And you have to think about it very well, okay? All right, so you just heard from Chisom Chinedu, and of course we have Dr. Olisa Mbeki on the analysis desk, and he's here today. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast in FM Onitsha. Wherever you're listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. Good morning, God Almighty, the author of our lives. And we are just here back in the sanctuary. Yesterday, it was an experience yesterday, but it's good most times to call in from outside. But just like we do here, people are listening. That's one good thing. And people do get so much. They rely so much on what we do here. That tells a lot of the value people have reposed in us, and we'll keep doing that. There will be no disappointment of any form or in any style. And it's another political day. Every day is a political day. It's another political day, and we're back to do what we know how best to do. So congratulations to those who have been called to bar. I don't know.
I saw Mr. Chidoka. He was also called to bar, and he was celebrating, and likewise some other persons who were celebrating yesterday.
You know, we will pray that their call to bar will not be like that of Mr. Ibu. Call to bar. I remember there were times one of these comedy series, they had this wig with them, and they had a wig on them. But we would always pray for them. We want Nigerian Bar Association to be what, when we're growing up, we know them for, not kind of an appendage to any organ of the government where they sit idly and then watch things deteriorate. And then we have given examples how the counterparts in UK, the counterparts in United States of America, and even Australia, how they take on national issues. They should be more involved. Their voices should be heard. So under them, we've not seen any form of action apart from press release. Under their watch, River State went into military government, and all they could do was to just release a press statement and say that they are not part of it, and then bemoan such development. We want more actions from them from time to time. Let the judiciary be the common hope of the common man, and they have a role to play to make it so.
All right, so Tony, we have 4 newspapers as usual this very morning. But before we get to the papers, let's talk about this, because I know on this platform I raised this very issue of the part of the Enugu Onitsha Expressway, along that very toll gate axis that got bad, and creating hold up over there, and the people have been listening, or someone was listening. Yesterday when I was going home, I saw that work was ongoing there, and by the side I saw an insignia of Oyi local government area doing maintenance work there. And this very morning, when I came across there, I saw an improvement on what they did yesterday. So what does this speak to?
It speaks to being responsive and at the same time responsible. Yes, it's a federal road, and ordinarily you can imagine a federal government, a local government attending to a federal road. I have long called for the abolition of all this madness. Federal road, state road, local government road. At the end of the day, when the road gets bad, the state will be calling on federal government to do what it should do. The federal government will tell the state to go on with it and ask for refund, and the local government will be there looking idly. And we are the residents or people who use that road, majority of them come from that local government, and possibly since there could be outsiders who supply the road. We don't need this kind of a thing. It was something unitary system of government cost this country. Unitary system under General Agiyumunapwa Ironsi, sustained by different military regimes. We must have a federal system that works, not what we have. If we have a federal system that works, that very road, it becomes the responsibility of local government and the state government. Federal government has no input whatsoever. And the same applies to issue of security. They take on some of these things. That's the federal system we are clamoring for, and we have not got. When you have such responsibility, the federal government has not even been able to attend to a myriad of issues, and they will be looking at a pothole or whatever you call it, a cutter in any place around here. So the concern is, we must say kudos. And when I was coming back from Accra yesterday, somebody was saying, you know what the person said? Because immediately there was a traffic at that spot, and some of us brought in our glasses, windshield, to look around with the work ongoing. Somebody altered or concrete in a cement cage rose. People do not understand palliative. Do you prefer it to be that way, or do you prefer it to be patched up with concrete and cement to allow road users to have an easy ride? Yes, the person may be right. You don't have concrete and cement on asphalted road, but it's just a little pothole that has caused some kind of gridlock. Is a palliative. You make up. It's not a permanent solution to the idea is to allow free flow of traffic at that point. Whenever those who are consigned the road that has been delegated to them will come and then asphalt it. So we must say kudos to Oyo local government for its attentive work they did on that road, and we must commend them. That tells you people listen to what we do here. And you raise this issue a couple of times here, and the mayor of Oyo local government listened. The pressure turned down on him. That's the work of media. Media is powerful, media is potent, and media remains the watchdog of the society. What we do here is to mirror the society and ensure that everybody does what he should do. And that's what we are doing.
All right, so Chisom, this morning, when I got to Rome, I saw the presence of security men, the police, and other security agencies. Maybe, I don't know whether it's linked to the incident we had in Oko and the club yesterday.
Well, I'd like to think that it's a pretty good thing if we have a security breach in a part of the state and every other part of the state is on a lockdown. By lockdown, I mean a beef up of the security situation in those areas. That is what we call proactive securing of a place or a people. You can't leave everywhere else that is also prone to attack volatile, knowing that there's been a strike in Ekulobia, and so every other place that is prone to attack should be heavily guarded, from now going on. Probably a little relaxation when tension seems to have died down, but we still do not have to rest too much. That is it about proactive security. Until we are very certain, which we can never really bank on, that we have dealt with the security threats that we have. Unfortunately, it looks like whenever they see that there is a relaxation, they strike. They show that I cannot wear. And that is why we need to be on our game in terms of security beefing up, showing them that I can kwadokwal for you people. And if only other parts of the country would adapt this proactive measure towards security, maybe by now the boys of Zamfara, if you recall that video, Hail the Boys of Zamfara, they would have been properly dealt with.
All right, so these are just the buzzers. So we're going to get into the issues for the day. Look at the papers and tell you the stories that are catching most of the attention. All right. right, so you are tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM, and this is the Polity. Go to our Facebook page, the Radio 104.7 FM. Follow this very conversation. The video is there. You can drop your comment at the same time, share this very video. So let's look at the headlines we have. We have the Nation, Vanguard, Punch, and the Ghana newspaper. So begin with the headlines on the Nation newspaper. And the banner headline here says, aviation experts knock splash of cash by states on unviable airports. I look at the right, it says 369.4 billion naira spent by 19 subnationals. Fan MD, only 3 airports profitable. Really? And look at Abia State. Abia State is about doing an airport, and by the time the airport is completed, all the states in the southeast must have had one airport. And as it stands now, I learned that about 19 states have airports, and the question is how many of them are viable. We're going to get to this later. And then look at this headline that says Nigeria's tax reform gets IMF's backing. And check page 7 of the Nation newspaper. It has a rider FIRS, good to run on it. Okay, good to run it. And then under the or below the nameplate, court nullifies conversion of Nikon's 130.7 million pounds by United, or rather by Union Bank. Check page 4 of the Nation newspaper. EFCC seeks law to criminalize unexplained wealth. That's on page 3. The question: does EFCC need under law for them to go after people who have unexplainable wealth? Does the agency need a law, or he's just trying to raise unnecessary controversy? Then, other headline here says federal government opens talks with US over visa restriction. In fact, they are coming so hard on Nigeria. I can count about 4 countries that have tightened their visa application against Nigerians. Tinubu's reforms building on Buhari's legacy. That's the. It has a rider that says ex-SGF finds nexus in 2 leaders' programs. And that one says go on, leads dignitaries to the Shehu's book presentation. Okay, so that's on the Nation newspaper. You can see that very headline. The other headline here says Senate House minority leaders gang up against president, not optional. Okay, so that's on page okay, I have to repeat this. Senate House minority leaders gang up against president, not option now. That's on page 5 of the Nation newspaper. And this one says International Council of Beverages Association tackles WHO on SSB tax. Check the Nation newspaper. And these are the headlines we can take on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
All right, from the Nation, we are moving over to the Vanguard. FG secures a $747 million loan for Lagos Calabar Highway on page 20. FG targeting food sufficiency through PPP. Information Minister has that to say on page 9. No one single-handedly made Buhari president in 2015, says ex-SGF boss Mustafa. On page 11, construction of Eastern Rail Line corridor begins on page 13. 2027, don't underestimate Tinubu. Ribadu wants opposition on page 5. The riders here, ADC slams presidency over alleged plots to overthrow Tinubu, says it's ploy to repress opposition. Governors, APC leaders secretly supporting coalition. Babachir Lawal, SGF, has that to say. LP can't win election. We will contest on ADC tickets. Kingibe has that to say. Don't write us off yet. PDP says it's not losing ground to ADC. I saw that interview where governor was speaking so glowingly about how the PDP is ready. But then when he was asked about if they are sure that they would possibly clinch the seat in Asarok, he said 2027 is a long time, and people are coming and going out of the people are leaving the PDP.
Talking about
people are coming into the PDP, yes. Also, you'd see governors renew push to delist Labour from exclusive list on page 28. Lagos LG polls, please restrict vehicular movement for 12 hours on Saturday. On page 10, Lagos is warming up for the local government elections. I'd say for that state, it's a very important election to make sure that service and governance gets to the grassroots. And for a state developing the pace it is and its a cosmopolitan nature, they need to really do well with this election. Also, the free and fair nature of that election would impact so much on the other elections that we're going to have in the country at large.
But I need to ask, when are we going to overcome this practice of each time we want to have an election, there must be a restriction of movement? Because Lagos is just having a local government election, and we do have this. Is there a time that it can be in our system that without restriction, people can just go out and vote?
Well, big question there. Have we got into that place yet? I think one of the reasons that's done is also for insecurity reasons and all of that. And with the kind of practices we still have been overlooked during elections, it's probably a far cry from, we are probably a far cry from what you're hinting at. Immigration, Nigerians face growing visa hurdles in UK, US, Canada, UAE, others. Do you wonder why it's all coming at the same time, Franklin?
That's what we have to ask today, because all these other countries are just giving, tightening everything.
As if they just, all of a sudden. Senate probes Ponzi schemes in Nigeria on page 30. This probe, is this the right time? I mean, it's been a long time coming. Why are we having this at this moment? When the likes of after what they did, so many of them came, and then CBEX was allowed to do what it did last year.
And after the probe, what happens next?
What happens next? FIRS has made significant progress. IMF has that to say on page 20. Two fair dead as gunmen attack Anambra community. Really sad development that we look at that, but you can find that on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay, over to the Punch newspaper. We have the banner headline that says diplomatic tensions. FG pushes back as US UAE tighten visa rules. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. It has a rider. Ministry begins high stakes negotiation as officials fought US over reciprocity claim. And then this one says US meeting, African leaders seek Trump's support to develop resources. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. IMF pledges support for FIRS on tax reforms, page 21. LG poll, police restrict movement in Lagos, deploy squad. That's on page 8. Tinubu government seeking keys to clamp down on coalition. That's on page 14. I think there was a version in the paper that Chisom read. And then these are the headlines we just have on this very Punch newspaper. Over to Garden.
All right, and over to the Guardian newspaper, you'd find the couple. EFCC decries mind-boggling fraud at NNPCL, wants unexplained wealth criminalized. Find that on page 3. 2027. Do not underrate Tinubu. Rebate warns opposition on page 3 as well. UAE bans transit visas, imposes stricter entry rules for Nigerians on page 5. 2 years later, international travel restrictions spark fresh row over absence of ambassadors on page 6. Mutual funds rise by 105% to 5.9 trillion naira in H1 on higher demand yields. That's on page 18. Jakpa, Canada raises minimum proof of funds to 70 million per immigrant on page 2. Nigeria attack claims 13 as 20 bandits die in Kwara on page 30. Again, 20 gunmen raid Agwata local council, kill 4 on page 20. Delegates will decide who gets ADC's presidential ticket, says Atiku's spokesman. Find this on page 6.
It appears that there are people who are sponsored to be speaking for Atiku and be pushing his candidacy to the front burner, or pushing his aspiration to the front burner, because many of the persons who have spoken about this very ADC and how they're going to conduct their primary, in one way or the other, check all of them, they have linked to Atiku. I talk about TB Frank. I talk about the newly found, let me not say newly found. Talk about Kenneth Okonkwo, who appears to be, trying to position himself, and some other persons who have spoken. Maybe it's part of testing the waters to know how good it is. Okay, so these are the headlines we have this very morning. We're going to switch to the conversation. Stay with us. Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin and Chisom and Dr. Olisa Mbeki. They are with me on today's program. And it's now 9:36 a.m. Let's get to the discussion this very morning. But before then, don't forget we are live on Instagram and the YouTube, Udala Radio on these two platforms, and for you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notification each time we post a video. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in Anambra State yesterday. Just we were on program yesterday when we broke that very news of the gunman attack on Ekulobia, and we later found out that the attack began in Oko and then dovetailed into Ekulobia, and we saw videos of these very gunmen, shooting sporadically. And from what we gathered, the police said they were able to challenge them and were able to repel them, and in the process, one of the gunmen was neutralized, and if you want to speak in our language, he was killed, and police was able to recover some arms and then 4 vehicles. And but if you look at some papers, they are reporting that 4 persons were killed by gunmen, but from the police report, police is saying that 2 persons were killed by stray bullet, and then 1 gunman was killed, making it 3 persons who died in that incident. But in the whole thing that happened yesterday, we have not been able to pinpoint the mission of this very government, because no place was mentioned that they went there to attack people or they went there to rob. What we saw in the video, where we saw them around that Ekulobia flyover, shooting sporadically into the air. The question is, what happened? And already on the social media space, people are trying to read meaning into it. Perhaps they wanted to announce that they are still in Anambra State before Anambra gubernatorial election. Tony.
Yesterday, just like you pointed out earlier on, there was an incident, and we looked at the incident from different perspectives. We are told about how it happened, and remember, probably related to the ones that we had sometime around May 15 to May 16, and then the one we had around June 16, where Agona Chamber Vigilante Office was attacked somewhere in Umunze. But we are talking about what happened yesterday somewhere at Oko and then Ekulobia, where gunmen ambushed a particular location or some locations. We are told that gunmen ambushed locations around Ekulobia and Oko, and from the reports, about 4 civilians were killed, setting a vigilante vehicle on fire. So the attack was a coordinated one. They cordoned off the area with intention to have this duel with the security operatives to subdue them and get away with whatever they want to get away with. And we're told that the police, the operatives, engaged attackers in a gun duel. And you said that one of them was neutralized, was killed, one of the attackers. One was neutralized, but reports also indicate that some of these attackers were neutralized, though the exact number was not ready. But one, I think from the report we got out, we had one, but we also told that AK-47 rifles, pump action guns, and ammunitions were recovered from the fleeing gunmen. It suggests that police overpowered them and killed some of them. They did not attack and get away with it. It tells you about the security approach of the state government, the responsiveness. Before now, what we usually had was where these people we attack and go on scot-free, but this time around we've seen them being engaged by security operatives, and one would say, are these people in Anambra State? And you could also look around what happened sometime around May 15 and 16, somewhere around the Sofia checkpoint, where gunmen ambushed a security checkpoint in Sofia. There was a fierce gun battle that ensued between the attackers and the police. 2 gunmen were killed on the spot. We are told that 1 police officer was also killed, but the truth remains that there was engagement. And we are told from the police report and from what we saw on social media that police recovered arms and a burnt vehicle abandoned by these assailants. One would wonder, why is this usually, or why is this the case, especially around Orumba? We have had incidents in Ekulobia, that is Agwata area. We have had incidents in Oko. Oko should be in Orumba North local government area. We have also the Oka and Omonze. And then Omonze is in Orumba South local government area. And the Sofa is still in Agwata. So the 2 local governments we have mentioned has these two ligaments have to be with Agwata, Orumba North and Orumba South, and then the environs around that area. Remember, Ashina is very close to Isofia and the Kulobia, and then it has these. There's this road, Ihube Road, around that Azix. There's a road called Ihube Road, and that Ihube Road will take you to Okigwe. So there is this boundary between that area and Okigwe, and also you also have the one around the Agwata or Azix will take you to Isialambano. And also, you also have the one, in fact, Olo is not that far from Omunze by bush tracks and feeder roads. Olo is not far from Omunze. And even Nkwere, a border town to the west of Omunze, is also need to be mentioned. So what am I trying to say? The point I'm trying to make is that look at these areas. They have borders with Imo State, Abia State, and possibly Enugu State. So if you ask me, the Udogachi operatives, they have done so much work. We have not been told that these people are camping in Anambra State. We don't even know if there is any camp existing in this state. And look at the ASICs, look at the pattern.
I read one upon one time where somebody was claiming that there is a forest that serves as a camp for gunmen in Oboji, and he was saying government should give him backing and work with him for them to dislodge criminals in that very forest. Somebody made a claim about it. I don't know whether if you read that report some time ago.
You say somebody made a claim, and one thing you should know is this: whenever you want to make a security claim, there are ways you go about it. We have known the area in view, and you recall that that incident where some Ebonyi residents or Ebonyi citizens were massacred was around that area, and we saw how they came in and attacked the Ebonyi citizens or indigenes. But remember, it's a factional thing where they have or where they were having problem with each other. The two factions, where one wanted to report the other and the other felt that you cannot report us to the security operatives, and came there while they were having their meetings, demanded for the minutes book and other things they demanded, and opened fire on them. A watch area. So I guess my concern is this, and I've said it many times: no matter how secure your state is, the neighboring states, are they secure? That's more reason there must be eternal vigilance. If not, look at the pattern. I was just talking about the pattern. If you look at the pattern, if you look at Ufuma, Ajali, these areas are close to Oji River in Enugu State. If you talk about, or there is a Ogo, somehow it's close to Rumba. And I'm also aware that even Udi, further north via Onitsha, Enugu, I think expressway. The point I'm trying to make is that if you look at the pattern of this attack, it has always been around the border towns.
So when you say pattern, what do you think also is possibly the intention? If you're able to figure out the pattern, have you also been able to figure out possibly the intention?
Look at the intention. Anambra State is hot for these criminals, no doubt. Their kind of attack now is guerrilla style. From these border states, come in and attack, get whatever you want to get, and then go back to these border states. I have been able to enumerate here that security can never be in isolation. Just like I said earlier on, the pattern shows what these people have devised again. So what we need to do now is to protect these border towns. There must be more security presence around this border town. If you are talking about the Oko, and then Ekulobia axis. I have mentioned here that when you talk about Ogo and the Ekulobia axis, these places, they are close to, like Umunze is close to Umunoch, and in fact Owere Zukala and Umunze, they are close to Umunoch. Umunoch is in Abia State. Even Owere Zukala is also close to Lopanta. Even if you look at it, these things happen around these border areas. And I'm also aware, just like I said earlier on, Agwata or Low Azix is also important, which if you take further, it takes you to Isi Alambano. And I've said that even Olo is not far from Umunze. And then even Umpare, a border town to the west of Umunze. And Okigwe is also close to Umunze and Achina via that Ibe Road. These attacks, look at the pattern. Border towns.
Okay,
it tells a lot.
Now, having established that there's a pattern, because last night, I think around PM, there was even a shooting incident around the school gate of Oko Polytechnic, and I learned that a man was shot at that point in time. But if the man survived, I cannot say now, certainly. So, since there's this very pattern, so should we be talking about having, a trans-border collaboration between Anambra State and maybe this very neighboring state, and see if this operation can help to flush these people out, because that means that there is still that there are still camps in these neighboring states, harboring these very criminals if they are no longer in Anambra State.
There is need, and it's also a function of the willingness of these states to cooperate. We have identified 3 states now: Enugu, Imo State, and Abia State. These are the 3 states where some of these border towns in Anambra State share with these states. And having identified this pattern, and one good thing we must commend the security operatives in all of these attacks, they have not gone scot-free. That is commendation, because in the one of yesterday we are talking about, some of them we are killed. You said 1, but there are other reports that say 2, 3. So
talking about police report, police said 1 person.
1 person. So, and then apart from 1 person that was killed, there was also a recovery. AK-47 was recovered. Ammunitions were recovered. Pump actions were recovered. So they did not just attack and go scot-free. What does that show? There was a gun duel. It was not a few days. Before now, it would have been a few days. But there was a duel. And the one that happened somewhere around the Sofia, there was also a duel. So there was a confrontation. And they just come and attack.
What would it take to make this very collaboration to happen? I mean, between Anambra State and this vulnerable state, what would it take to make it happen? Is it dependent on what the governor can do or the police commissioners?
I think the state governors are the chief security officers of the states, even when you say it's on paper and they do not command some of these things. I'm aware we have a joint security task force in Anambra State could name Operation Udogashe. And in Imo State, there is also a vigilante group that helps security operatives in that very state. I'm not aware if there is any in Abia State, but I'm going to find out. And in Enugu State, there is a name they are called. How are these men proactive? We've not heard reports, results on the parts of those who have these security operatives. I'm talking about vigilante operatives. And what have you done? And remember, Anambra State has got population more than the states. Anambra State is a happening state, commercial hub, commercial center of the entire southeast. Anambra State has the highest number of billionaires in entire country. So these people, they have always one thing or the other to come to take from in Anambra State, but they have been restricted majorly around these border towns and where they don't come in and go scot-free. They have been duly engaged. They have been dual. So we must commend security operatives, the operation Udogashe. And they have lost. Sometimes the one that happened in Usove, we were told that they lost 1 vigilante operative. So on their own part, and look at, whenever they come, they try to attack the security vehicle. They will set them ablaze. We are told they set how many ablaze yesterday?
That's 1.
They set 1 ablaze. Even the one in Usove, they set 1 ablaze. So they have to contend with the security operatives first And most times in such gun, they will run away.
Now, Tony, before we leave this other matter, so do you have an inkling, or are you having any thought about what could be the intention of what happened yesterday? Like I said, there's no report of any exact place attacked, whether some people were robbed or some persons were, were shot at. Rather, they were at that very Equilobia flyover and they were shooting sporadically. So, do we have any inkling of what could be the mission of the incident yesterday?
I think what could be the mission, I'm just speculating. They had come to subdue the security operatives and possibly go on with kidnapping activities. So when they came in yesterday and started shooting, the idea is to see who would fix them or confront them. Once they're able to subdue the confrontation, they go on to kidnap. That could be their mission. So immediately they opened fire. They were adequately fixed. So there was a duel, and they could not subdue the security task force. They were subdued, and that was why they left. So they had come, naturally they don't understand the security architecture of that area. So they opened fire, hoping to, once you open fire sporadically, there is always a mission. Whenever they want to kidnap, especially in an open place, they open fire. The idea is to scare people around their way so that they can have a kind of free flow of whatever they have come to do. But immediately they opened fire yesterday, they were well and adequately engaged. So it was a duel where one of them was killed. They set the security operative vehicle ablaze and they ran away, and ammunition were recovered. There are videos to that. We must say kudos to our security operatives for what they did yesterday.
Give me a second, please. The figures that we were given, 4 whole vehicles were recovered. I was wondering if they came in those 4 vehicles, and then how many were they that they were engaged. One was
killed.
One escaped. No, one was killed. Actually.
I said one of the
one was
gunmen
killed.
was killed.
Yes, so the rest escaped. 4 vehicles. I'm just trying to figure out how they were able to do that, Tony, and also what we possibly should be looking at, especially the vehicles involved. Are these when we talk about security tracing and all of that, what would you say to people, especially where vehicles are being snatched, according to reports, indiscriminately lately?
As just like the question you raised now, I'm seeing these vehicles here. The one here, I think Toyota Corolla,
yes,
with a registration number Enugu, that is ENU 58XC. That is the red Toyota Corolla. And also I have another one here. This one has to do with Fogmatic. I think it's GLK 350 with no number. That is the second vehicle that was recovered. And also there's another one here, Toyota Highlander. From the look of things, I think this Toyota Highlander, the plate number is inverted, so I can't really see the plate number very well. So there's also a Toyota Lexus. The Toyota Lexus, I think, with the custom color, Toyota Lexus, and then the plate number bears Enugu again, ENU 815 AP. So it tells you a lot. These were 4 vehicles that were recovered yesterday. It tells you, I think, majority of these vehicles bear plate number from Enugu State, and then I'm not indicating it's from it must be from the state. What I'm saying, the facts and figure we have here, and the AK-47, the pump action. I have these videos here, and I have the pictures here, and you can as well see with me these pictures and the videos are shared by the police. So it tells you a lot. So we must commend the security operatives. Not most times we always want perfection. You must commend them. They lost. I don't know if some people were injured in the gun duel. Some people were injured.
I think the government also went to Oko police station, but they were repelled.
They wanted to attack the police. They wanted to burn down the police station, but they were seriously repelled and they turned back. In fact, they were given a hot chase yesterday.
Okay, so let's go for this very commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Good news. news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, heaven in Ogwashuku Aniocha local government area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with their special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, heaven on earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081 64 404098 or 080 37 44 3787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Alright, you guys listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and this is the Polity. This on Thursday morning. My name is Franklin and Chisom, Chinedu, and Dr. Olisa Mbeki. Three of us are on this very program today. So let's talk about another thing, which is the move which has been made by the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He's actually seeking the backing of the National Assembly to legislate against unexplained wealth. I'm talking about Ola Olukoyede, who is the chairman of EFCC. He said Nigeria cannot win the anti-corruption war without the legal backing to hold public office holders accountable for assets far beyond their legitimate earnings. Olukoyede spoke at the National Conference on Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance organized by the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate and the House of Reps in Abuja. The FCC chairman described the magnitude of public sector corruption as disturbing. And there's a quote here. In his word, he said, "In the last 3 weeks, we started a commission-wide investigation into the extractive industry, particularly the oil and gas sector. What we have discovered is mind-boggling, and we have only just opened the books. So much more corruption is to be unraveled. If this is what we are seeing at the surface, imagine what lies beneath." And then Olukoyede described fiscal rascality and the mismanagement of public resources as a core driver of Nigeria's economic woes and security challenges. Now my question is, do we need a law criminalizing unexplained wealth for EFCC to be able to go after people who are involved in enriching themselves through illicit ways? Not just EFCC. What about other anti-corruption agencies like ICPC? There are some other institutions that have been set up in the country to fight corruption in public places. So do we need to have a law criminalizing unexplained wealth for us to be able to achieve results, Tony?
EFCC has not lived up to its expectation. It's up to its own billing. EFCC, as we speak, cannot explain even recovered assets. We've seen that. There are many assets that were recovered that were relooted. It's on record. Recall when the former EFCC chairman and the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Ebuka Malami, remember when they were involved in such hot exchange where there was an inquisition, an inquiry headed by former president of Appeal Court. To date, we were not told the outcome of that report. Many of us speculated about it. So, and that was how the EFCC acting chairman as at that time, because it wasn't confirmed by the Senate. Senate said they were not going to confirm him. He was there for a very long time. He acted as if there was confinement. You know the person I'm talking about. And it tells you a lot. If we cannot account for recovered loot, and the same body who cannot account for recovered loot is asking that they should go out for unexplained wealth, it tells you, and they have not shown that professionalism. They have not shown that non-partisanship in their approach, in their work. It tells a lot. I'm aware, because I like being fair, I like being truthful, I like being objective. And I can tell you for free that there are some countries that this issue of unexplained wealth is in their status. I'm aware that even when you talk about UK, there seems to be a law to that effect in UK, where I think it's called the WO, unexplained the wealth something. So I can still get at that. So the point I'm trying to make is this: there are many people, like there was a time the FCC seized over 12 billion naira traced to accounts allegedly linked to the former first lady, President Jonathan. Yahaya Bello, you talk about him. Assets were acquired allegedly through the state funds. We want to talk about Daisy and Alison Madeke. There are so many of such things, but the question is, do we have confidence in EFCC? That's the question.
Now, Tony,
because just like I was trying to say earlier on.
Let me come in here.
Okay.
So that because I still want to ask that very question, which I asked the foundational question, whether we need to criminalize unexplained wealth before people can get to work and do what they're supposed to do. I know that in this very country, take for instance, let's just single out judiciary for instance. We know that there is NJC that is responsible for discipline of these very judicial officers, and they can work hand in hand with other agencies who are into anti-corruption. We have NFIU, we have asset declaration, we have code of conduct. Like all these things are put in place to ensure that people are accountable and financially responsible. At least we know how they make their money. But we know that in this very country, we know public office holders who spend beyond what they earn legitimately, and their accounts are under surveillance. And if agencies want to do due diligence, they can easily bring the books and show you, bros, can you explain how this very money come about? These things are there because for every transaction done through the bank, there's a trace.
Exactly.
That's why we have laws in this country that we say if you are going to transfer a certain amount of money, it must be done through banks. It can't carry cash and what have you not. But these things, we tend to ignore them. The laws are there that can help us to check these unexplained wealth. So do we still need another law to criminalize it before we can work and get this thing done?
If you ask me, ideally we need, just that we don't have the institution to go after this in a true professional manner. Ideally we need, and I can tell you for free that there are some countries in the world that have something related to that. You cannot fight corruption if you cannot nip certain transactions in the bud. And if somebody, that's why so many people can live flamboyantly here, but they cannot do it in some other countries. If you go to a country like Australia, you have unexplained wealth laws. You have such a law. And Proceeds of Crime Act 2002, Commonwealth and similar state level laws in Western Australia, Northern Territory, they shift the burden of proof to the accused to justify their wealth. You remember our own legal system here is that once you are arrested, the body of proof turns out to be to the person who arrested you, to show cause why you were arrested, and then the charges preferred on you, he must prove those charges. That is, but in Australia they have such a similar legal system, but in this case, unexplained wealth law, the burden of proof shifts to you that was arrested based on the way some of these things we have found around you. The same in Ireland. There's such a law in Ireland. Same in Italy. Same in Canada. In fact, in the United States, when if he does not have a formal unexplained wealth law, but there are other civil asset forfeiture laws and kleptocracy asset recovery initiatives.
Okay, let me come in again here. I just want to cite these very laws in this country. We have the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution. If you go to section 15.5, it mandates the states to abolish all corruption practices and abuse of power. That section provides a foundation for other anti-corruption agencies and laws to come into place. Then we have the ICPC Act of 2000. Now, this very law established the ICPC and then criminalizes bribery, gratification, abuse of office, and corrupt enrichment. It allows for investigation, prosecution, and forfeiture of assets. They look at the EFCC Act of 2004 that established EFCC. It deals with crimes like advance fee fraud, which the one we call 419, money laundering, embezzlement, and terrorism financing. This agency has the power to investigate, arrest, and prosecute offenders. Then look at the Criminal Code Act, which is applicable to the southern Nigeria. It covers issues like official corruption, bribery of public officials, extortion, fraud. Penal Code applicable to northern Nigeria, similar to Criminal Code which we have in the southern Nigeria. Then there's Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act. This one enforces ethical conduct of public officers, monitors asset declaration. Then violators can be prosecuted before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Then you have the Money Laundering Prohibition Act of 2011, Public Procurement Act of 2007, and so many other laws that have been made. Can't we deal with this unexplained wealth with these laws we have in this country?
I have a question. Okay. Where they want starts? Forgive my pidgin. Where they really want starts when you talk about criminalizing unexplained wealth? Who and who do they want to start with? Because we live in a country where there have been unconfirmed reports of even supposedly legitimate businesses being cover-ups. So do they have the mechanisms and the means to actually carry out deep investigations? And how sure are we that this isn't going to eventually switch into being a sort of witch hunt like you have seen before, especially whenever the issue of corruption comes to the fore?
Definitely, just like I said, we don't have the institution to go after this now. If you raise it, if somebody comes up to challenge or to contest any election, the state looks at the person. Oh, you want to challenge? You want to come out? You want to contest? Let's look at your properties and let's find out how you earned or made these properties. And before you know it, it becomes a witch hunt, just trying to ensure that the person does not have any. That is just that. We don't have the institution. But I must tell you for free, because when we talk about unexplained wealth, one should ask, what is unexplained wealth? Just like I mentioned earlier on, there are unexplained wealth orders law in so many countries where they have strong institutions, non-partisan institution, an institution that is not party-laced or partisan tilted. These things are in some other countries that truly wants to fight corruption. And unexplained wealth is simply or basically refers to assets, money, property owned by a person that significantly exceeds their known or legitimate sources of income, for which they cannot provide a satisfactory explanation. Generally speaking, that is unexplained wealth. And one can really take it down. Situation whereby a civil servant earning 250,000 naira monthly owns a 3 million mansion, or sorry, 300 million mansion, because you can't get a mansion for 3 million. Maybe a civil servant who earns about 250,000 naira monthly as basic salary earns a 300 million naira mansion and possibly 3 luxury SUVs. You cannot explain this. And when definitely somebody could have gifted you this, or somebody could have helped to procure this, you must come and explain it. And you look at a politician with no active job, owns luxury apartments in Dubai, London, Abuja, but cannot explain. This would go down well. We'll start with a politician first. If this law would make a kind of a good stride, we start with the politicians, we start with the civil servants. Many of them at level 15, level 16, level 17, palm secretaries, directors, many of them own properties worth so much than what they legitimately earn. Many of them are guilty. Even without proof, many of them are guilty as charged. I can put it to you that 90% of them, that is where the corruption. Most times, these politicians that steal our money, these people, they are being facilitated by civil servants. Civil servants facilitate this theft, facilitate this, stealing, we call it. So
would you blame them?
So it's not a case of blaming them. It's a case of the system being rotten.
How much have you stolen, Chisom?
I have not.
So why say
For
will you blame
starters,
them?
let me explain myself. While there is no justification for the wrong thing being done, we live in a system where sayings like if you can't beat them, you join them is a thing. We live in a system where if you decide not to, they take you aside. Somebody still does it. And I am sorry, but who really is a saint? I am speaking from the human realistic angle. Ideally, there shouldn't be anything like this. But maybe if we had a system where people generally grow based on the kind of work they put in, you would have the moral justification to tell people to just, take it easy. But where it looks like you are the joker, like you have come to look, you sit down, they look, you came to count bridge when people are doing the wrong things and they're not criminalized. Johnny, first, second, third, fourth republic. How many people have really gone in except for where we have real witch hunting going on? Where apart from where it's for political detraction, for opposition reasons, how many people have really been penalized for criminality in this country?
That is the issue. Like if probably we want to fight corruption, as if I happens to be the president, you start with the members of your political party. Because if you start with the members of opposition political parties, they would call it witch hunting. You start with the members of your political party.
Because that is what it is.
Come and explain your wealth. You have this mansion. You have this. And most times we have these records. Come and explain how you acquired this. What business did you do? What economic business did you do?
Tony, so maybe what we require is for the president to show the political will. Okay. There was one. There was one workshop I went for with Code of Conduct Bureau, and that for now they have started this very issue of asset declaration online. You can go online and declare. It's no longer you must come to the office. For every public office holder who goes into office, you are expected by law to declare your asset. Along the line, even when you are in power, you can still come to update, and by the time you are leaving, you still go and declare your asset so that they can cross-check. But my question has been, like, these very agencies we have, they are populated with people who are paid salaries, but they do nothing.
They do not, and many of them may not come up with a result. We have a very, very big civil service. And at the end of the day, the result we expect, we do not see. And many of these people that are in those agencies, they can cover people up. That is the corruption. And then cheer part of the corrupt process. They cover some of these people who, for one reason or the other, couldn't explain this world. See, somebody was telling me in Germany, corruption is so minimal. Cashless policy.
Exactly, because that's why. Because now, in our own case, why is also so difficult is the fact that we haven't gone cashless. Okay, let me give you this very instance. That time we had issue with the MFLA cashless policy. I was speaking with a friend who is based in the UK. I was talking about how we are trying to change notes and difficulty we are having. He said for some years he had been in London. He doesn't know the color of a pound. He hasn't even touched a pound for a long while because everything is cashless. Even when you're taking your salary, when you're making your payment, everything is cashless. So that whatever money that comes into your account or goes out, it has a trace.
It has a trace. And let me support that. We will start with establishments, corporations. No business will be done via cash.
Are we talking wholesale market and main market?
No, I'm talking about establishments and corporations.
Yeah, I get. No,
when you talk about wholesale market, and even in those wholesale market, there are vendors. There are licensed vendors that at any point in time, the vendors help. We have got so many POS operatives, and we've got so many of them. But the point is that not that you would do this to eradicate corruption completely. It will be reduced. That is the plan. It cannot be eradicated. There are those that can still be the system and do what they want to do. But we don't have institutions. If we don't have institutions, if you look at government contractors, many of them are living in paradise. And I picked something from Wiki and Amechi's row. What did I pick? Amechi said he never had a Rolls Royce. The one that was given to him by John Mbata, he never used it. In fact, it has been parked there. He doesn't mind if they can get a buyer who could also come and get it. That was where he stopped. Wike continued. Who was John Mbata? He was the contractor handling all your projects, all the government projects. 70 to 80% of government projects were handled by John Mbata. And who is John Mbata? Our president, Johannes Ndibo president. And then he said, you can imagine a contractor giving a government he does work for a Rolls Royce. And you remember,
which you know is against public
that
conduct.
is it. Remember, Amechi did not tell us what John Mbata was in his government. He ended up telling us that this man gave him Rolls Royce, which he did not, he accepted, but he did not use. It was Wike that went on to give us the complete version of who John Mbata was in that government, that he was the government contractor.
Why
that
we
did so much works for government, most of the roads, projects, and all that, and it was the same contractor that gave you that Rolls Royce. So it tells you a lot. Many contractors in this country, you know what? They inflate contract terms. They do a lot of. There is no vetting. The Bureau for Public Procurement. These things are bypassed. There is malfeasance in everywhere. Okay. What goes in as a result of corruption is what is left to work with.
All right.
Take it anywhere.
So I think the point is for the institutions we have to begin to work. There's no need going to.
They cannot work if we do not strengthen them. They cannot work
because that's what we say.
They are suffering paralysis. That's what is because in this country are suffering paralysis. That's the kind of medical condition they are in.
As it stands now, we have the foundation. We have the grants to be able to get this into work if you want to make it work. Take, for instance, we have mentioned the cashless policy, which we know is part of CBN's drive. Is there, but because of one change or the other, they lax it.
Franklin,
then you talk about business registration, which is part of what CAC does. There's a reason for that. Then you talk about this personal identification number. We are doing NIN. Then talk about BVN. These things are there, but because of we have not found a way to galvanize them and be able to use them to get to rooting out financial misappropriation and the likes and corruption here.
You see, the things you mentioned, well and good. But like Tony said, this system is not working. The institutions are not working.
The institutions are there. It's for them to start working.
Yeah, the institutions are there. But I hope that someday they can properly work. But I'll ask you a question. You know, you made reference to the cashless policy era. And so I like to think that everything follows a due process. You cannot wake up in a day without putting proper, things that will cushion certain things in place. And you go ahead to just do one thing. An instance is the cashless policy. We woke up one day, there was no gradual phasing out. It was, okay, this is happening. And before you knew it, people had to buy Naira in Nigeria. Because where you said cashless policy, you did not also say that there is no more Naira transactions. Yes, if you actually made room for your e-transactions to be working, and so you say in the next 6 months we are working towards strengthening e-transactions, payments without physical cash, so that in the next 6 months, we would be having only e-transactions. As a matter of fact, if any seller or any institution demands Naira of you, please report them and we will swing into action. You didn't do that. You woke up and you said, okay, no more Naira. And people really desperate. I mean, I won't want to go and enter Keke and then I'll be telling them that I want to transfer 200 or 300 because you have not even put a transportation system in place where all I need to do is board a bus and swipe my card. And so you are copying people who are thousands of steps ahead of you. You are not ready.
So the point there is this, because policies must surely come in. Just like to talk about, I don't like to reference to MFLA because we know that whatever he did was politically motivated. It's not in any sane climate. It can never be a way to go about to roll out the policy. You know, when we began to switch to ATM, it was as if, are we going to get used to this or not? But today, guess what? Because once we have once you have done the groundwork and you roll out, everybody's going to fall in.
Do you know that with POS and e-transactions, sorry to button there, Franklin, forgive my manners. Do you know that now you can still go into the market and the traders are now complaining of the charges on the deposit you're going to make into their accounts? So how do you please want to harmonize a system and everybody is getting. I mean, there is. I don't know how they want to make it work. But there are so many things they need to do actually, because they cannot be complaining of what you charge me on commission for my debits, and the seller is complaining of the commission that you're also going to charge the seller, and then they will start telling you, if you are paying so and so amount, we cannot take transfer, or we cannot use your card. You only have to use cash. You are not serious with your e-transaction drive.
I think we have to strengthen our NIN, National Identification Number, and then make it to be our central registry in everything. Yes, now you can apply for passport with NIN. You can also open an account, bank account with an NIN. You can also register for a SIM card, NYC, driver's license, pension, or government grants, and so many other things. If we make it central in our security architecture, many people have bypassed it. Pantane Isa introduced quite a lot, but people have asked this question. These Boko Haram operatives, how do they receive their funds? How were they funded? How do they transact? How do they move funds from one place to the other? They make use of banks, and these things cannot dictate them. What are you trying to tell us? That the institutions, if you put these policies without the institutions working independently, it's not going to work. There will be bypass. Just as we have electricity bypass, where people, you have the meters where you can slot their cars and order. We see those who go through short corners, but because you have poor monitoring and evaluation, and the poor monitoring and evaluation unit in some of their parastatals, ministries, departments have cost us a lot. And these institutions, they are corrupt. There's no doubt. No institution in Nigeria that is not corrupt, take it to the bank. Every institution is corrupt, and there are corrupt tendencies, and these people who are corrupt are not punished. I'm not saying everybody in that institution is corrupt. I'm saying the institution themselves, for the fact that large amount, many of them who are in those institutions are corrupt, they are corrupt. And what platforms, what reforms, what technology have we deployed? We're talking about cameras, we're talking about so many technological developments we can use to track, to evaluate, to monitor. We are not doing those things. Nobody's interested. So that is why in Nigeria we see a policeman on the road boldly taking a gunja, I don't know what they call it elsewhere. They will just boldly tell you, and you see them transact. They will give you change. In fact, if you're looking for change, meet any of them at these their illegal checkpoints. You demand for any change, they will give you any change you want. So, and that is what we have. If you come to religious or clergies, many of them have designated their churches for all manner of corrupt tendencies. Most of them that open churches here. Remember one we have in Nigeria, in UK, the problem he had in UK because he cannot account for certain things, and he was asked to close up, and he had a problem. Do we take those tasks, and if you do it, there people will say you're against God, you are doing it. See, my own is that we have allowed ourselves to be deceived to the point that we cannot come out of it. It seems
all right. So we have some commercials to attend to. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Crusade. Yes, so this one a mega once in a lifetime kind of crusade. House of Sublimes Properties Limited, the reigning real estate company known for zero problems, invites you to this land crusade with theme Gospel of Lands Crusade. If you have bought land anywhere and you are experiencing any problems or challenges, this crusade is for you. Highlights, connections, business deals, relationship meetings, first class entertainment, plus many other things. Date Sunday 20th of July 2025. Venue Night of St. Christopher Hall, All Saints Cathedral, opposite Red Cross Onitsha. Time 12 noon prompt. Come and get your breakthroughs. Get fee free of charge.
For inquiries, call Bishop on 081 36 40 4171 081 36 40 4171.
Come one, come all. House of Sublimes Properties Limited. Your peace of mind.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it and they do yellow. Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, that kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Ninta. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body, chama. Wendy's bread, the champion. Wendy's bread,
bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to The Polity. It's now 10:26 a.m. and let's get to the other issue we have on the conversation this very morning, because this seems to be a hard time for Nigerians who might want to travel to one of these very countries, whether you want to go to the UK, US, Canada, or UAE, because we are having some changes in immigration or visa rules by this very country. Now, look at the story on Vanguard newspaper. It says that in recent times, several countries, including US, the UK, Canada, and the UAE, among others, have introduced stricter visa restrictions against Nigerians as part of their immigration crackdown and growing protectionism among the world superpowers. Countries that have so far restricted foreign travel for Nigerians have cited concerns around national security, economic concerns, and public health issues. The policy changes, according to most of the countries, aim to reduce the overall immigration numbers, address specific issues with visa overstay, and poor documentations, as well as align with their immigration policies with domestic priorities. The very first time was US. We heard from US where they released a new visa policy reducing non-immigrants and non-diplomatic visa duration for Nigerians to 3 months with single entry permit. From there, we heard from UK, we heard from Canada, we heard from UAE, and all these things are coming at the same time. What is the issue? Are Nigerians endangered species? What is driving these very countries to come up with these such visa restrictions against Nigeria, Tony?
I guess many Nigerians, we have seen so many overstay in some of these countries, and then you ask, why are they doing this? Every country is trying to have a total control of everything going in their country. Many of them, they have shown some level of interest when it comes to work, welfare, social package, and so many things. And Nigerians, you know for sure, many of them are living in their drones. Why? They want greener pastures, because we cannot make our home what it should be. So, and then these countries, are some that say that it's just reciprocity, like US. They will tell you that in international politics or diplomacy, there is this rule that is called a reciprocity rule. So, if you ask, one would say, why are they against Nigeria? And why is Nigeria being hunted this way? There are some countries anyway, because it's not just Nigeria alone. And most times when we paint this picture, it sounds or it looks as if Nigeria is the primary target. I'm just looking at the United States, where by the rule they released this July, that if Nigerians who are applying for non-immigrant visas, B1, B2, F or J, these are different categories of visas, we now receive single entry visas valid for only 3 months. But previously, Nigerians were once eligible for multiple entry visas with validity up to 5 years. In fact, I had a friend, as at last month, as at June, he got a visa to United States of America for 5 years. And then, not just 5 years, he's allowed or eligible for multiple entry within that period. You can go to United States, come back at any time within that 5 year period. They change it. I'm telling you about a friend who got just a visa in June. This July, United States says no. It will be single entry visa, valid only for 3 months. That is totally devastating. Single entry, and the validity of that visa will be 3 months. That is devastating, if you ask me. And then if you look around in mid 2025, the UK Home Office came out to deny many Nigerians visitor visas, questioning intentions to return. That when we give you a visitor's visa, you don't come back. You go there without any effort to return home. According to them, they say that there are tightening quite a lot of things. The UK, both their study and work visa restrictions should be on dependents of student and post-study work rights. Before now, if you apply for work or study visa, once you have arrived there, you have dependents, those who depend on you. You can come along with them. Now they have stopped it. So previously, dependents of international students could join family, even post-study work options more generously. And they have now come up with, in fact, there was the time their visa rejection rate hovered around 1 in 31 in 2022. I'm talking about UK visa rejection. 1 in 31 in 2022. As we speak now, is now 1 in 8 for every Nigerian. If 8 Nigerians apply for UK visa with right qualifications, 1 will be rejected out of every 8. But before, it was 1 in 31. Are you going to talk about Canada? Canada, their new policy they released this July has it that there will be proof of funds requirement for express entry boost. There must be that proof of funds requirement. And now we are told it's about 15,263 Canadian dollars. If you convert 15,263 Canadian dollars, it will give you about 17 million for single applicant. That's a huge sum. What do you know what 17 million is?
That one is just proof of fund, though.
That is it, proof of fund. Before, previously it was about 14,690 Canadian dollar, which was more easier, and then it was more significantly lower. It makes it easier for Nigerian applicants, and there's a way you can stagger it. Most times, what Nigerians do. You know what they do? Let me tell you what they do.
Somebody fund their account.
No. The thing is this: they'll ask you you're like you have the idea. Maybe you have done something like this before.
Why are you saying that?
It's just so funny. See, look at what Nigerians do. They'll ask people to put money in that account, and after the whole thing, they will take the money back. So that if you look at the statement, it will have this implication that the account or they have such a transaction going on. But I think apart from United States of America that hit us below the below the belt. In fact, United Arab Emirates.
Sorry, if you look at that proof of fund now, from the revised one they came from Canada and the UK, that proof of fund needs to be there for about 6 months.
That is it. So now let's talk about Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Nigerians, many of them have gone to Dubai. They go out there on social media. I'm in Dubai. I'm doing this. Now they have banned transit visa for all Nigerians. Transit visa. You know what transit visa is? Probably you are on transit and you apply for visa, you can't get it. The tourist visas have been restricted. I'm talking about United Arab Emirates. If you're a Nigerian and you are aged between 18 to 45 of age, you must now travel with a group or a family. I don't know why they do it that way. And those 45 plus must require bank statement showing up to $10,000 minimum monthly balance over the past 6 months. So you can go on and on and on. In fact, US has dealt with us, UK dealt with us, Canada dealt with us, United Arab Emirates dealt with us.
Why?
They aim to curb abuse of short-term visas, reduce asylum fraud, protect domestic job markets. These are things that are looking at for. Many people who are in these countries, they have committed asylum fraud. They fake all manner of things, and they will be, committed to asylum category. So that's what, and their domestic jobs, they reserve it for their citizens. You want to come and take it?
So are we saying that this is a consequence of the actions of Nigerians over there that is now bringing this restriction for those people who are in Nigeria who may want to go there tomorrow?
Apart from Nigerians, is a global trend. These requirements reflect global trends. Stronger vetting, focus on reciprocity, and at the same time tighter control on travels.
That's for US.
From high risk regions generally, but many of them, like if you look at South Africa, I don't want to talk about South Africa because we bring this issue of xenophobic incidents and all that. So if you look around, you find out on the part of South Africa, they are concerned about their domestic jobs. Now many Nigerians have come to take their jobs and take their women. And Nigerians know how to spend this money, especially when they make it so easy. They spend this money on the women. And many South African women are going for Nigerian men. Many South African men are not happy.
Well,
That is, by the way.
Isn't that a very, I'd say, trivial perspective? I mean, on their end, for starters, because if they were doing these jobs, they wouldn't be vacant. I recall when the certificate of sponsorship fraud was happening here in Nigeria, getting people jobs over there in the UK. They paid certain thousands of pounds and all of that because these jobs are existent up until, of course, the fraud came in. Before the fraud thing came in, they were really existent jobs. And so the question is, are there people doing these jobs and they were vacant?
Some of them, many of them may not want to do the jobs Nigerians are doing. Many Nigerians are mortuary attendants. Many Nigerians watch dead bodies. Many Nigerians sweep the roads. Many Nigerians clean the gutter, the drainages. Many Nigerians attend to sick and old people. Bathe them, feed them, and clothe them, talk with them, interact with them, make them happy. These are some jobs many Nigerians do. Most of us who have left here for greener pastures, we ended up getting a darker I don't know whether the pastures are greener now. Maybe they may be dark pastures. So, but the point is, because many of them will tell you it's better. I'm seeing electricity. I have these social protection. They give you social protections. Yeah, but we don't have those things in Nigeria where you are prone to security attack and insecurity we've seen. So they will tell you it's better I go to UK and watch dead body and then even become mortuary attendant. To be in Nigeria, they're not, and many of them, they are skilled, they're educated. See, how many doctors are in UK? Many Nigerian doctors. How many Nigerian nurses are in UK? It's not just in UK, in UX. And if you look around, not just Nigeria, Indians do these things, but because they have high immigration rates. Just like Nigeria, I think in UK, after India, is Nigeria that comes next. But they have respect for these people. But in our own case, they don't have respect because so many of us commit all manner of crimes, asylum fraud, especially. So you don't blame these countries for what they are doing. They are just trying to be being totally in control of the travels around their country and protect whatever they think they have. We have caused nuisance in some of these countries. But that's the way it is.
Okay, so let's go to the phone lines and hear what you have to say about these very issues we have brought at the front burner this very morning. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Get across to us through this very lines. Then go to our Facebook page and then get across to us. So you can drop your comment on the page. We are going to acknowledge your comment. Good morning.
Franklin, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
This is watching Ebuka. Good morning.
Good morning.
Chief Doctor Dame Tony Obuna. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
I am Great Dame Ezia Patego, hitting the airwaves from Osumoro. Yes, that is the way to do. Other countries that are wise, they have got not to joke with the checks and balances. Yes, if I know that you are going to come into my country and you become a nuisance, security threat, I will tighten up my belt. Other countries that are civilized, that is what makes them to be civilized. If you leave your border porous, you suffer it. Today, Nigeria is suffering as a result of our border porosity. Why can't they suffer? They take everything for granted. There is no sincerity, political sincerity in this country. There is no patriotism in this country. No love for this country. Deep division. Division in this country, I mean, it stems from all powers of the cardinal point. Why can't Nigeria be suffering? It can suffer because it is taking everything, security, politics, everything for granted. Come to say, what will make Nigeria to grow? Nigeria is not ready to grow because I wouldn't know the reason why 2014 compound was jettisoned. We are here crying, wailing, looking from one problem to, moving from one problem to the other. Why? All the answers and solutions given to Nigeria, none has been implemented. 2014 compound has all the solutions that will make Nigeria move forward. But today, it took only one man to scuttle the whole arrangement. Check the amount of money that was expended on that procurement, 1.7 trillion naira, wasted, unaccounted for. Why should Nigeria grow? Nigeria is not built to move forward. Nigeria is built on fast foundation.
All right, thank you. Please don't forget you have 2 minutes for you to make your comment. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. Good morning. My noble analyst in the studio. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
This is Anthony Meseta calling you from Onitsha this morning.
Yes, go on.
I want to speak just on 2 issues this morning. One as regard to the resurgence of killings in the state. For a time now, we have been priding that the government has dealt with the matter of killings and banditry in this state. And because one of the good news I used to give our governor is that he's blunt and objective as regards to insecurity. But the resurgence of this government attack has begun to raise an eyebrow. And if we clearly state that these criminals are not in the state, I think we will be economical. Because for one to be first and admittance that there is and even around. So if we begin to push it around, that it may be strangers that come outside the state, it will be debatable. Because when we begin to look at the state that borders Shabra with Anambra, and you want to compare the inconsistency of the security breaches and attacks there compared to Anambra State, you will see that claim that all these criminals are not in Anambra, they are not coming outside the state, is debatable. So I want to say that is security. There is a lot of homework that needs to be done before we go to commending security agents, because any single life lost in this state, I think, is a minus for the security agencies, even for the government. So this attack, life was lost. Even if, although we heard that even the criminal was one was gone down, but surveillance, let's have to intensify on the surveillance structure, and then fish out where the thing is coming from. If there is still a camp in this state, I think security agencies have to move it on the board, other than to gaslight and live in just imaginative Eldorado as if we are the safest in the state. Right. But whereas life has been lost. So I want to say that security, I have seen the effort of the governor. He's trying, he's making his efforts, but the efforts in terms of surveillance and getting that to the criminals must be intensified. Lastly, on digital payment system, I hope that Anambra State will set the pace in the area of centralized digital payments.
All right, thank you. Your time had elapsed. Hello, good morning. Okay, try to get across to us on any of the telephone lines so that we have your input. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Yeah, this is Obi Masbal calling from Onitsha.
All right, go on 1043.
Yeah, my brother, the restriction in UK and America, not because of Nigeria are committing crime. Let us go and check the history and the foundation of Nigeria. We want people know the truth, but we, Nigerians, we are coloring the truth. Except the truth will set us free in this country called Nigeria. The white people are getting up. They know us more than we can hide ourselves, and we cannot hide. We can run, but we cannot hide. It's the time. They are getting up. They are going to deal with the Nigerians. It's just time. The time will just take. Everybody will see it. Then terms of insecurity in Anambra, the politicians in parties, they know what is going on in Igbo land. With time, God will show them. God bless you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. Okay. I think that line giving a little problem. Let's see. Hello. Good morning. Okay. I'll try again. 0803 221 6973. Good morning.
Wonderful morning to you, Franklin.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning.
Thank you, Chisom Chinedu. Olisa Mbeki, good morning.
You're welcome.
Honorable DK, calling from Onitsha. let me go straight to the point here. I think what's going on, the visa restrictions from various advanced countries of the world, it's as a result of, just like the speaker have analyzed. But one thing is certain, if this country is okay, do you think people will be living in this country? This juggernaut syndrome you have everywhere. Is the economy, is this country perfectly okay or working? No, I don't think anybody will leave the country. So that is why I just want to come from that angle. And recently, Governor Soludo was in U.S. demarketing the Igbos, which is also an Igbo man. 99.9% crime rate in Anambra State is Igbos. In fact, it baffles me coming out with such statistics. Is he trying to exaggerate the whole thing? I'm not saying that an Igbo man is a saint, but there are some certain things you don't disclose on air. The white men are listening to you, Asians, everybody's listening to you, Africans are listening to you.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. I think that town hall meeting was between Anambra indigenes.
Anambra indigenes, but it's all over the social media.
Yes, hold on. Living in the U.S. and the North America. Now you are seeing it on social media because a video was made out of that very interactive session. That's why I seen it on social media. But go on, because you said.
In fact, what I'm not trying to say that Igbos are saints, but we are looking at, okay, for instance, these visa restrictions are stuff coming up when you want to travel out, for you to get a visa to the country is a nightmare. And we are looking at crime has been on the increase in the time of Dr. Chris Ikike. His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi mentioned Obi, and crime has been there even from time immemorial. But for you to grasp the rate, okay, with such the marketing to me, which you are also from, and you mentioned 99.9% of the crime. That is just, and then tomorrow you expect that when the such people want to travel out of the country, you should go for them. Just finding out problems here and there. So I think most importantly here, we must have to get the record straight. Because whatever we are doing, all this, I keep talking about this idea of not fixing the country. Look at how many years does Traore have? How many years have Traore triumphed Burkina Faso? How many years have Governor Ochi, I'm even going very far, said in Niger State? And he said he's not even settled about second tenure. Must you come for second tenure?
All right, thank you.
Any sincere leader can do whatever you want to do within 4 years. So I don't subscribe to it. I'm not accepting the Igbos, not accepting any tribe. But we know that no, I've never seen a situation that a northern governor, I don't consider them for that, for not coming out to say the truth. Come out publicly and say that Fulani are this or that.
All right, thank you. Please, let's remember this very 2 minutes thing, please.
I wanted to actually react.
Okay, just take 30 seconds.
Definitely. I remember when Oti, let me quote him now. I don't know why many of us forget history. There was a Southeast Governors meeting in Enugu in August 2023. Franklin, are you listening? In that meeting, Oti said those behind insecurity in Igbo land are criminals, and many of them are from Igbo land. Those behind criminals, those behind the insecurity in Igbo land are criminals, and many of them are from Igbo land. But many people did not see anything in that. I remember when he launched his security campaign called Operation Crush, saying that other states will not share an inch of his land with criminals or their sponsors. And remember, he raised something when Soludo was speaking in North Carolina. He was speaking Igbo to Igbo brothers. It wasn't even in English. Like it was Izumunne. Let's tell ourselves the truth. And he spoke in Igbo to his brothers. And then in all of this, and somebody who had the Igbo translated it and said, and then Oburu the marketing. How is it the marketing when you are having a kind of town hall meeting? Izumunne. How is it the marketing? And when the federal government says P2B is the marketing Nigeria, by saying that Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, we will say it's P2B saying the truth. And when Governor Soludo goes to the town hall meeting in Igbo, not even in any foreign language. Within our brothers, Izumunne, where he tells our brother, look, and we say he's the marketing. But P2B is not the marketing. See, let's be real. Most times we are full of bias. We are full of emotion. And the governor's statement was not meant to be a public statement. It was an indoor statement, in-house statement, in Igbo language, where he believes those he was actually speaking to.
I said 30 seconds.
I don't know when I exceeded anyway.
Okay, let's go to Facebook and see what you have to say. Don't forget it's at Udala Radio 104.7. Also, Francis Namani says he's greeting watching from Mama Gunze in Nugu. Chukudi Joshua says, my speaker, please, I want to know if National Open University students were part of those called to bar a few days ago. Oh, quite a question. Master Okwe SJP says, I want to find out where I can locate the ongoing continuous voter registration in Onitsha. Y Junction in Ofoma Town and Oko areas seriously need security joint task force, including Army, Mobile Police, and Udoka or Agu security to protect citizens. Okay, I think he meant Dogachi. Wagone Chimba. Akachuku Ihani says, okay, we see you from Mbunike. Eke Gunners Madweke says, the gunmen attack that happened yesterday, it's like this when it's election period. And it's a wake-up call to our security men here in Anambra and government to do the needful in order to fortify our security outfits. Emmanuel Chiadi says, my take on security is that our ruling political elites are neither patriotic nor nationalistic. Otherwise, why is it not glaring to them that Nigeria must be restructured back to a federal state? As long as Nigeria remains unitary in structure, it is difficult to achieve political stability and sustainable progress. We see you, Justice JP Obinna Williams. While we commend the efforts of our security men, we should do well to take responsibility for the security situation in the state instead of prevaricating and shifting the blame on the lack of cooperation from the adjoining states. It can be likened to Father Alia and President Bat shifting security situation in Benue to foreigners. Obino Patrick, he says he's watching. Oh, see, okay, many thanks for being here. Ifidia will thank God. He says, okay, Mazin Warrior Chikwaduro. It's quite unfortunate that many advanced countries are now banning Nigerians from migrating to their countries. Imagine recently, come on UAE giving conditions to Nigeria before entering to their country. Shame. This is not going to be the first time UAE is saying something about tightening their own immigration rule. Maybe if we make our country as attractive as theirs, we can also do something to our own immigration laws. Those are the comments we have on Facebook.
Okay, so we have to leave it. Before then, we can quickly just dash and then get this very commercial. Once we return, we take 1 minute and then, say au revoir to Côte d'Ivoire. Stay with us.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Hello, Philip.
Guy, how far now? It's 11:45. Waiting shop.
I beg, no vex. My landlord locked me for outside, though.
Again?
No vex. I beg, have you come sleep for your side this night?
Omo, my babe, they around, though. But nothing do you. Try call celebrity landlady.
Guy, serious now. Celebrity Guinea.
Celebrity landlady. See, with celebrity landlady, you feed on landlord with just 100k every week.
Nah, lie.
I go lie for you.
Not true. You can own your dream land with just 100k weekly. Yes, with Celebrity Landlady Save to Buy plan, that property where you the dream of fit be your own just like that oh. A Save to Buy plan allows you to pay for your dream land instrumentally, easy, flexible and all yours. A Save to Buy plan is convenient and safe. Start now and become a proud property owner in top locations like Otulu Asaba, behind Ogwashuku Polytechnic, Admiralty Drive Ibusa and Isela Asaba. For more information, call us now on 0701 018 8042 or 0903-844-9351. Celebrity Landlady, turning you into a proud homeowner.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
All right, so we're out of time, so we have to leave now, Tony and Chisom.
I guess somebody asked question about where he can get registered. I don't know if that what the person means, but I know that there are so many political wards in Onitsha North and Onitsha South where you can easily register, because we know very well we must amplify it.
Tony, I think because we're out of time, if the person can go to our Facebook page, I promise we're going to post a comprehensive list of all the wards where you can go to register.
Yeah, definitely. Just know that Onitsha South has about 17 wards, and then Onitsha North has 15 wards. And then the other person that said something about National Open University, I'm aware that there was this push for them to be integrated, their law students, for them to be integrated. It started sometime around 2021, where many of their students were integrated into law school bar part 2. But then as of 2022, I'm aware that the body of benchers conditionally approved a huge amount, about 1,800 and something, to begin their bar part 1 training. So it's important that they'll be part of the court of bar we are talking about. So the search process is on, and the process began in 2021. 2022 we got a result, but we can probably believe that it's just a sequence, and then that of 2025 will be part of what is going on.
All right, so Chisom, we gotta leave.
We have to take our leave. The Polity is going to make a return tomorrow. From my end, I'll just say, do what you can to be a good Nigerian. What you ask for, you can actually start by giving.
All right, on a very note, we thank you for listening. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.